When he told the world that he is taking himself out of the game. Larry Menti takes a look at the legacy of Mike the Man, a guy who made a living on the court.
It's time for me to move away from the game of basketball.
A very private decision by a very public man. A decision that rips the heart from a city.
It's a huge loss. I don't know, it's like I was saying over there, he's not only a gift to the NBA, but he was a gift to the city of Chicago. He's what Chicago's all about.
Now we will have to suffice with the memories, but what magical memories they are. He is now and most probably always will be the greatest.
And the ball takes away. Superman is back in the building. Superman is back in the building.
It's hard to believe now that Superman was cut from the Laney High School varsity team in North Carolina as a sophomore.
Looking back at it, you can say, well, maybe it was stupid to cut Michael, but at the time, we thought it was the right decision to make. Unfortunately, you know, when somebody gets to be the best player in the world, possibly, you look back and say, well, why would any coach cut Michael Jordan?
It's over! It's over! South Carolina has won the 1982 NCAA championship.
And why would any coach sit Michael Jordan on the bench? After North Carolina won the NCAA championship and Michael was named Player of the Year, Bobby Knight put him on the Olympic team, but didn't think he was good enough to start. He's since changed his opinion.
He's the best athlete. He's one of the best competitors. He's one of the most skilled players. And that, to me, makes him the best basketball player that I've ever seen play.
The U.S. has its 9th gold medal.
But the best player Bobby Knight's ever seen was not the first pick in the 1984 NBA draft.
Chicago selects Michael Jordan, University of North Carolina.
Chicago had to settle for Jordan as its second choice. The Bulls lost a coin flip with Portland in 1984, and now a mediocre player named Sam Bowie is remembered only as the answer to a trivia question. The man who was chosen before the world's greatest player.
I'm looking forward to going in and trying to live up to everyone else's expectations. I just want to go in and contribute the best way I could.
To Michael Jordan right now.
He immediately surpassed everyone's expectations.
63 points, and you're looking at an all-time record.
Oh, boy.
He took the Bulls to the playoffs 9 years straight. Each of those 9 years, he was named to the NBA All-Star team. And in 1987, when the league started a slam dunk contest, it was Michael Jordan's personal showcase. He had everything but what he wanted, an NBA championship. In 1991, that would all change.
Live Chicago, we did it. We did it. It took a long struggle, but we made it. And I hope everybody's enjoying themselves, because I am.
Everybody in Chicago was enjoying themselves as the whole mood of the city would change. Pride and unity could be seen on the streets, and Michael Jordan could be seen everywhere. Being Mike means making a record $36 million a year in endorsements.
Air Joy. You know, it's over the second rafter, off the floor, through the window, off the wall, nothing but net.
And being Mike, according to the World Almanac, means being the most popular human in the world 6 years running.
If you could be Bill Clinton or Michael Jordan, who would you be? Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, the basket. People all over the world like him, and who likes Bill Clinton.
It's really an unfair comparison. The president's record can't match Jordan's 3 consecutive NBA championships, his 3-time finals MVPs, 3-time regular season MVP, and 7 consecutive scoring titles. Larry Bird said once, Michael Jordan is God playing basketball. But with this godlike adulation comes a heavy burden.
It's a heavy burden because they expect you to be the most perfect human being that you can be. And for a while, certainly I tried to do that. I tried to live that life of being the most perfect person. But I had to come to my senses. Hey, I'm just as human as anyone else.
So when was the turning point?
The turning point was the gambling.
There were several gambling incidents. Michael got in trouble a couple of times last year when he mixed gambling with golf.
Jordan on the pull-up.
And then again this year when, during the playoffs in New York, he took a trip to Atlantic City. It was then we found out what a special man James Jordan was. Michael's father stepped up and took the blame.
Because it was actually my idea to go to Atlantic City.
Michael always leaned on his father, and when James Jordan was the random victim of violence on a North Carolina highway, friends say Michael fell apart. He went into seclusion, and for the first time in years, he had time alone with his family. Time to raise his children the way James raised him. Maybe he liked it so much, he decided Michael Jordan, the player, had to die, so that Michael Jordan, the human being, could survive.
Sometimes the basket god says he knows who's shooting. Oh, it's you, Michael? Come on in.
A new book will be out soon by Michael Jordan. The last sentence reads, "Watch me now, because any moment I could be gone."
Born to make mistakes. 49 for Michael Jordan. I'm out of room in my scoreboard.
Larry Menti, Channel 2 News.
Great piece. The media have played a big part in making MJ a media giant, but as he was calling it quits today, he had a subtle but stinging message for the press. Jay Levine takes a look at those biting remarks.
Michael Jordan will miss this. He will not miss this. A life where he is dogged by fans, followers, and photographers anytime he steps out in public.
Had he been able to just play basketball for 2.5 hours a night this year, he'd still be playing. It's not the basketball he's walking away from.
This is probably the first time I've met this many people without a scandal around.
He smiled when he said it, but time and again throughout the jam-packed 40-minute news conference, Jordan stressed that basketball wasn't the only thing he was leaving.
One of the reasons you guys have gone into my private life, because you can't blame my basketball.
The tough questions began when he ducked the White House trip after the Bulls' first championship. It turned out he was playing golf that week, losing tens of thousands of dollars to a man later convicted on cocaine charges. Jordan was forced to testify at the trial. That prompted more questions. And so did a gambling trip to Atlantic City with his father this spring.
45 years ago, Leo DeRocher was kicked out of baseball for a year for merely associating with gamblers. The tradition of a curious and invasive press is a part of this country's history. It's just only in the last 20 years that the athlete celebrity has had to endure it, and perhaps never recognizing that he might have to. The politician grows up understanding, I will have to deal with this.
I'm going to tell you something, it's murder.
Life at a fishbowl is nothing new for former alderman and mayoral candidate Ed Verdoliak. He may be part of the media now with a daily talk show on WLS Talk Radio, but he is certainly no fan of it.
They wouldn't have gone after me if I was another Joe Blow alderman, but I was a scalp that they could have hung.
David Axelrod advises politicians on the media. He's helped elect mayors and presidents, senators, and other top officials. He's also a Bulls fanatic, loves Jordan, but...
I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, fellas, just write about the good stuff and leave me alone when things don't go well. It's a package deal, and you either accept it or walk away.
I'm not a hatred type of person. I don't carry no grudges or, when I'm walking away with a clean slate.
Even those who had to ask the questions will miss him. Jay Levine, Channel 2 News.
Corey McPherrin was center stage for today's announcement. He joins us now live from Comiskey Park. Corey, your impressions?
Well, it really was an amazing day. You know, I've had a chance over the years to cover a lot of hirings and firings, retirements, 4 or 5 World Series, 4 or 5 Super Bowls, and All-Star games and Final Fours and the whole bit. But I think this has to take the cake as the #1 sports story I've ever been around and witnessed. And I think it kind of hit home today at the news conference. There must have been 300 people representing the media there, camera people, reporters, technicians, broadcasters, just an amazing array of people. And I think what you realize is it's not just a Chicago story. It's not just a national story. It's even an international story. There are members of the press from all over the world there, as a matter of fact. We got calls in the office today from Canada, from Australia, people wanting to know just a little bit more about Michael and get a sense of what happened today. Here in Chicago, we will all miss that tongue wagging out of his mouth, those wonderful magical moves to the hoop, his personality, his charisma, and of course, his talents on the floor. We'll be back a little later on to talk a little bit more about Michael Jordan. See you then.
All right, Corey, thanks a lot. Well, until today, it has been Michael and the Bulls, and now the Bulls finally get top billing. Coming up, we take a look at life without Mike.
And MJ is revered on and off the court. We'll hear from those he's outmaneuvered under the basket when we come back.
The first title is probably the biggest thrill that I've had, because coming into the city of Chicago, it wasn't a bright situation. and we were not on top. We were not even in the middle. But I've seen every stage to get to the top.
Your local Ford dealer. Quality people, quality products is a participating advertiser of the era of Air Jordan.
Where's the right place to buy a new truck? The Truck Authority, your local Ford dealer. Now get great savings on all 94 trucks. Save $1,200 on Ford F-150 now with a standard airbag. Save $1,800 on Ranger, the #1 selling compact pickup. Or $1,900 on America's favorite sport utility, Ford Explorer. Plus save on a '93 Aerostar with 3.9 financing or $1,000 cash back. All before you make your best deal. See your local Ford dealer now.
Ford is the Truck Authority.
Anyone can see that the new GE Profile Radiant Convection range is easy to clean, but the real technological advantage is what you can't see, so we'll show it to you in a roundabout way. Introducing the first GE range that circulates hot air all around your food, roasting meats up to 30% faster, so they get done to a turn on the outside while staying tender and juicy on the inside. Why does GE offer such an ingenious way to cook? Because we know how much of life revolves around dinner.
Come on, get trucking to Bennigan's Santa Fe Fajita Feast. Fajitas for two, only $11.95. Sizzling chicken and beef, peppers, onions, and real Santa Fe tortillas. Enough for two, only $11.95. This ain't gonna last forever, so get to Bennigan's.
Check this out. Bally's is offering our pay-as-you-go program at the low enrollment fee of $49 for an alternate day plan. Once you join, pay only $15 a month for as long as you want. No outrageous membership fees, no long-term commitments. Just $15 a month for aerobics, swimming, jogging, and the most advanced equipment available, like our 30-minute workout program. Join Bally's pay-as-you-go program now. An offer like this won't last forever. Call 1-800-WORKOUT.
A great new taste in snack crackers. New Roman Meal Snack Crackers. Whole grain goodness with crunch. 4 delicious flavors. Great tasting snack crackers from Roman Meal.
Michael Jordan's retirement took his fellow players by surprise. They've got to be scratching their heads right now wondering what is going to happen to the team. Well, Howard Sudbury takes a look into the future of the Bulls and life without Mike.
Pippen starts to drive. They still have one of the game's brightest stars in Scottie Pippen. They still have one of the great clutch shooters in the history of the NBA Finals in John Paxson. But right now, the Bulls aren't too sure what kind of team they'll be now.
And realistically, who knows what our team will be like this year. Obviously, it's the way our team's been defined has been by Michael Jordan, and that is lost overnight.
We're not going to just fall to the bottom. We must go on without Michael.
Without Michael. 2 words the Bulls weren't prepared to say just yet. But the players still have to play, the coaches still have to coach. Tex Winter handles the Bulls offense.
Maybe Pippen can step up and be our go-to guy in those situations. But the way we play, we can make adjustments without overhauling everything.
Scottie Pippen will become the Bulls' main man now, their go-to guy. He'll miss Michael, but the future excites him.
The pressure, the expectations are going to be bigger, but it's something that I've dreamed of all along, that one day that this day would come for me, but not so suddenly.
The players are ready for the challenge of basketball without Michael Jordan, but they'll never forget basketball with Michael.
I feel very fortunate to have played with Michael for 8 years and to have been a teammate of his. And a long time from now, I'll be able to tell grandkids or whatever about the time I played with the greatest player of all time.
Howard Sudbury, Channel 2 News.
Michael Jordan's retirement is not only a huge blow to the millions of fans who love to watch him, it's also hitting his opponents, the guys and the other teams who tried mightily to make Michael look less than superhuman. Their reaction came in from around the world today. Linda McLennan has more.
Well, he kept it in bounds. Here it is again.
Make no mistake about it, on the court it was serious rivalry. But many of the guys who squared off against His Highness are as saddened as the rest of us to see the game lose its superstar. Charles Barkley called it a weird, weird day. Until this morning, he said he didn't want to believe the news.
Until you hear it. It was like when you found out Magic had AIDS. until you heard it from his lips, you didn't want to believe it, and you couldn't believe it.
Now the comparisons between Larry Bird, Magic, and Michael can end.
I think he was driven to do things that those guys did not do, because there's always been that raging debate, who's better, Michael, Magic, or Larry. And once he accomplished the triple, that did it right there.
Magic Johnson says he's 100% behind Michael.
I've always been in awe of Michael Jordan as the talent on the basketball court, but I'm even more in awe of Michael Jordan, the man.
Michael's a great player, but he's going to miss him. I'm going to miss him. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to play with him 1 year.
I'm glad he's at peace with himself and was able to make this type of decision. It's a sad day for the rest of the NBA, though, and a sad day for players because he was a special guy. You know, he was a guy who brought a lot to the game, brought a lot to the court.
A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win!
Linda McLennan, Channel 2 News.
Almost without exception, each one of those players say they believe Michael will return one day to play in the NBA.
Michael Jordan has given the Windy City a superstar to call its own, and in return, fans have made him an honorary Chicagoan. But folks in his real hometown are taking this news just as hard, and we're going to hear from them next.
And we debrief Corey McPherrin on this crazy day in sports. It's all ahead.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. You know, that's how I really dream to be. I dream I move, I dream I groove, like Mike. If I could be like Mike.
Where's the right place to buy a new truck? The Truck Authority, your local Ford dealer. Now get great savings on all 94 trucks. Save $1,200 on Ford F-150 now with a standard airbag. Save $1,800 on Ranger, the #1 selling compact pickup. Or $1,900 on America's favorite sport utility, Ford Explorer. Plus, save on a '93 Aerostar with 3-9 financing or $1,000 cash back. All before you make your best deal. See your local Ford dealer now.
Ford is the Truck Authority.
My name's Beth Ginsberg, and I'm a pastry chef. I own a restaurant, and I cook good food. I make a chocolate sushi, pastelles. Yeah, I think you can tell the difference. They're both sugar, aren't they? What do I know?
Honestly, your classic Eau de Sicilia ripe olives and mushrooms is as good as homemade. Even my husband, whose mother and grandmother cooked from scratch, agrees.
When I served your classic Eau de Parma 4-cheese pasta sauce, my family loved it. Even my father, who grew up near Parma, smiled and said, I'd finally learned to cook.
Taste the difference authenticity makes with Classico. Classico, authentic regional pasta sauces.
What's the hottest shopping news this week in Chicagoland? Serta Saver stores.
These savings are fantastic.
Come inside the Serta Saver Circular. It's like shopping the store with more variety, values, and special savings.
Look, here in meats, Eckrich fresh or smoked sausage $1.49. In dairy, Tropicana Pure Premium Orange Juice $1.79. In grocery, Ragu Spaghetti Sauce 99 cents.
After shopping this week's Serta Saver Circular, you'll want to shop the entire store.
You always get more at a Serta Saver store because we work for you.
Tonight, the people of Wilmington, North Carolina share memories of the local boy made good in the NBA. In the Laney High School library this morning, Michael Jordan's old coach, Fred Lynch, watched the Jordan news conference on TV, along with other faculty members and students. Lynch still stays in touch with Michael. Tonight, he's sad, but proud.
I mean, I love watching the best in the world play the game, and so it's sad to think that we may not get a chance to see him play the game again. So, from that standpoint it is, but if it's a decision that he's happy with, then you have to be happy for him.
Well, Lynch wasn't always so impressed. Remember that guy Larry told you about earlier in the broadcast? That's right. He was the one that cut Jordan when he was a sophomore from the team.
What a claim to fame. Channel 2 sports anchor Corey McPherrin has had a chance to really get to know Michael over the years on the road with the Bulls and in the locker room. So let's go back out to Comiskey Park for Corey's insight into today's bombshell. Corey?
Well, Joan, I really think if you were at the news conference and listened very closely to what Michael had to say today, there really is not one overriding factor as to why he made the decision he did make today. I think you can boil it down to to 3 or 4 basic ones. First of all, there's no question about it. As he said, he's lost his motivation to play. He's done so much. He's accomplished so much. Number 2, I think he really is sick of us, sick of the media, sick of all the scrutiny and the controversy. Thirdly, I think his father's death certainly had an impact on Michael. I think it made him kind of think about how life can be so short, made him rearrange his priorities. And I think today, when someone asked Michael, they asked him, what about the kids and your fans and their disappointment? And Michael thought about it for a while, and here is how he responded.
Basketball is great to play it. It's an enjoyment, it's a fun, it's a hobby. But there's a lot to life other than sports and to football or basketball or whatever. I know that kids are going to be disappointed, but hopefully they learn that Michael Jordan was once a basketball player, but now he's a human being, he's a man, he must continue on, he has a family, he got other things he must achieve.
I get the sense that Michael is really looking forward to life as a regular guy. And of course, Joan and Lester, I mean, Michael Jordan, no matter if he plays basketball or not, is never going to be a regular guy. I mean, think of Muhammad Ali, a guy who hasn't been in a boxing ring for, 20 years or whatever, and here's a guy who, anywhere he goes, any airport, any shopping mall, any public place, is mauled and asks for his autograph. The same thing will happen to Michael Jordan, no doubt.
Corey, how much of this do you think is Michael Jordan's fear of growing old on the court, being less than, not being the man he was 2 or 3 years ago?
Well, I think that's part of it. That's part of it. I think he knows, as we all know, that he could play at least another 3 or 4 years before that really is a dilemma for him. He's 30 years old. He's at the very peak of his game. There are a lot of players in the NBA and other sports who have maintained their excellence at an age much higher than even 32 or 33. You think of a lot of guys who played up in the 35 and 36-year range. But I can tell you this. I talked to Coach Johnny Bach, an assistant coach today, and he told me that Michael, over the course of the last couple of years, would look over and see a Larry Bird or a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar late in their careers and say, geez, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to go out like that. I want to get out at the top, and that's what he's done.
What a great ride. Corey, thanks very much. It isn't hard to find Michael making magic on the court.
When we come back, a special look at the best of Michael Jordan.
Your local Ford dealer, Quality People, Quality Products is a participating advertiser of the era of Air Jordan.
Where's the right place to buy a new truck? The Truck Authority, your local Ford dealer. Now get great savings on all 94 trucks. Save $1,200 on Ford F-150 now with a standard airbag. Save $1,800 on Ranger, the #1 selling compact pickup. Or $1,900 on America's favorite sport utility, Ford Explorer. Plus save on a '93 Aerostar with 3-9 financing or $1,000 cash back. All before you make your best deal. See your local Ford dealer now.
Ford is the Truck Authority.
Hey there, Chicago guy here. To find out why everyone's watching David Letterman weeknights on Channel 2.
I'm Dave, and I want to be your TV friend.
He's single. He's hilarious. Not bad to look at.
Why do I watch David Letterman? Because he makes faces like this. Ha!
Oh, hello. Have you ever seen this man before?
Oh, man. I tune in every night.
Really? Hey, thanks. Gotta watch. Chicago's watching. Are you?
I looked in the mirror and I just went, oh my gosh, I look like a different person. I was huge. I went to Jenny Craig because I needed someone to help me the whole way through. I had a lot of bad habits. Deborah helped me change them one at a time, and I could call her anytime I needed her. I got the help, and I wanted to, tell people, you don't be afraid to reach out and get that help.
Instead of just another diet, get personal weight management at Jenny Craig, all for just $1 a pound. Call 1-800-92-JENNY.
Brand name necessities to designer luxuries, Linens and Things has it at outstanding October savings up to 60%. Now, for a limited time, take advantage of special manufacturer's savings and take home spring-made sheets, solids, and stripes for an incredible $369 twin, the lowest price anywhere. No gimmicks, no buy one at full price, get a second at a lower price. You get the lowest prices anywhere on every sheet, only at Linens and Things.
MJ swept into this town 9 years ago, bringing with him a spirit that has brought us to the edge of our seats and kept us there. He's the man with a golden heart and a slam dunk for a calling card. Bill Curtis takes a look back at the era of Air Jordan, the best of times.
Michael for three. Yeah!
Everybody has to retire sometime. So why are we distraught at Michael Jordan's news? Maybe because he has entered our lives in so many ways. From commercials on television to those crowning achievements 3 times in a row that brought a real high to a whole city. For so many, this athletic team not only inspired a dream, they lived it out, and we lived through them. Nothing goes on forever. Now it's time for us to wake up out of that dream and start over again. And hopefully, Michael Jordan can return to reality again, too. Perhaps out of the nightmare where his life was no longer his own. But it's time now to say thanks. Thanks for a great decade, a great career, and thanks for making us feel like number one in so many ways.
And so an era comes to an end, as does our special report on Michael Jordan. I'm Joan Lovett.
I'm Lester Holt. We'll leave it to Michael to wrap things up. Good night.
The first title is probably the biggest thrill that I've had, because coming into the city of Chicago, it wasn't a bright situation, and we were not on top. We were not even in the middle. But I've seen every stage to get to the top. And the city's probably been waiting for a long period of time, because all they had to say was wait until next year. And it gives me great gratification that during the time that I played a game of basketball here in the city of Chicago, they don't have to say that anymore.
Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win it! That was Steele. He kept it in bounds. Here it is again.
When it's real life, your life, you need real